Welcome to BYO Beats. This is week 2 of our December episodes here with Dallas Arlo. Thank you again for being on the show. We're going to get into the guilty pleasure today, and we have not a beer, which is good because, I don't know, people don't like to be ashamed of beers. This is High Noon Black Cherry. We've had High Noon Peach, I believe, on the show before.
We've had High Noon Peach. We've had High Noon Lime.
Watermelon or something?
Watermelon. It was watermelon.
Yeah, watermelon. Yeah. So this is our third flavor. I've never been disappointed. I don't know about you, Johnny.
High Noon is definitely my choice when it comes to seltzers. They didn't have High Noon in the cooler. They did have Vizzies. So
Vizzy is not a bad
I had Vizzy one time at a White Sox game. Oh, I'm actually wearing my White Sox sweatshirt right now.
Nice.
That's a cool sweatshirt.
Yeah, I got it for free for going to a game.
Wow.
Yeah, that's one thing the White Sox do great is they do a lot of like giveaways if you show up to the game early. They do that well. They don't play baseball well, but it's about the experience. But yeah, I mean Vizzy, there's like a big sponsorship there. They've got like a special Vizzy bar in part of the stadium. I only went there briefly, grabbed a Vizzy, then went back to my seat. But yeah,
I actually don't think I've seen Vizzy much outside of sporting events.
Yeah, I mean
It's feeling it. Yes,
It's good. It's good.
It's definitely better than. I don't like Truly. I think Truly's kind of not good.
Well, so
and it's way better than White Claw.
Yeah, so White Claw, I feel like it gets shortchanged because they were kind of the first to do it big in terms of seltzers.
Yeah.
And
Fair.
because of that, they can't really change the formula that much. Otherwise, it's not White Claw anymore. Truly, I agree with you that it's not great because they use artificial sweeteners. I don't believe White Claw does. At least it's not on their label. But that's like the claim to fame for Truly is that it's less sugary, so less calories, so better. Sorry, to me that means more aftertaste, and that's bad for me.
I mean, yeah, I'd almost rather have real sugar than fake sugar.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
Stevia is their artificial sweetener, so it's
Yeah,
not like
Stevia's in
It's not
Vizzy.
oh, is it? No, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, the
Anyway,
Vizzy it's okay. There is a very distinct difference between the seltzers and or canned mixed drinks that have real alcohol and malt liquor / generic. We don't know what kind of alcohol it is, but it's alcohol.
Yeah.
Vizzy is on the latter side. It even says right here in big letters, does not contain distilled spirits. I'm not totally disappointed in it. I was expecting to not like it at all, but it's actually kind of pleasant. I wish it was a High Noon, because I've never had a High Noon let me down.
Yeah.
Nooners will get you there. They will.
That should be their slogan if it's not already.
High Noon, we'll get you there.
We'll get you there.
So what makes this your, we're on guilty pleasure? Well, yeah. What makes it a guilty pleasure?
I think, in the it's really just because it's not beer, but it's a solid choice,
Yeah.
I think in the world of like hyper, like extra hops, most hops, dark hops, I think that just like a nice solid seltzer, I was like, you know what? High Noon. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if I'd order one. I don't know if you can order one at a bar.
You can.
You can.
You can, but I would. And I think that it would be like, you'll get a head nod from somebody across the bar because they're
Right.
like solid,
Yep. But then the beer drinkers would be like, "Hey, man, what the hell are you doing?"
Yeah, so
You mean to tell me there's no hops in that?
Right.
so Dallas, you said you go to a lot of shows, yeah?
Yep.
So do you find yourself when you go to shows well, for one, do you prefer to drink at them? And two, if you do drink at them, do you find yourself going one way or the other, like beer, seltzer, mixed drink, whatever?
When I do have a drink, it's beer.
Mm-hmm.
That's something about, I mean, harking back to the Warp Tour, there's something about like a sweaty pit just reeking of beer because some idiot had an open one in the pit, and then you're just kind of sticky. You know what I mean? I associate that with that, and it's like a nostalgic thing.
Mm-hmm.
Not that it's good, but I think that's why, like, you know, when I think concert, I think beer. But I don't always drink either. You know, sometimes it's about just taking in as much of the, you know, panoramic experience as you can from speaker to speaker and everything that's coming at you.
Yeah.
It's just trying to have your ears go like, okay, I'm going to take this all in, and I don't want my senses to be dulled.
Yeah.
So you mentioned that your dad liked the mosh pit a lot. Do you prefer that for your concert going experience, or not so much?
I mean, not so much. It's definitely something I remember growing up, and like I said, I was like 7 or 8 years old in my first concert. So I grew up at punk shows in Detroit, and like being on the outskirts of the pit, kind of far away from everything, or being up on a balcony somewhere very safe, you know, or the most safe, we'll call it. And then as I started to get into my teen years, I moved closer to the pit, and then I think my dad could tell what I was going toward, and I just remember him saying, he's like, "Don't worry about going in the pit if you don't want to. You'll go in. It's like you'll know when you're ready to go into that pit because you won't be able to keep yourself from going in." And just to speak to pits that I'm familiar with, like, because pits back in the day, in the 80s, in like stuff like in 90s, it was a very violent place. Like, you had to, like, if you fell, you were getting trampled.
Right.
But that's not the experience that I had, and it was for you know, you could still take an elbow to the mouth, you know, because people are, you know, dancing like crazy. Some people out there, they just want to push and shove and try to have a bad time, you know. But for the most part, people are, you know, you could catch a stray shoulder if somebody gets their weight off, but it was a good time. And I remember just like my dad telling me, if you go down, just put your arms out like this, and don't try to pick yourself up, because if you put your hands down to pick yourself up, someone might step on your hands and that could go bad. So it's like, just put your arms out, try to catch as many people as you can going down to like for your fall. But if you do hit the floor, I've hit the floor, you just put your hands up, and I don't think I've ever been on the floor more than half a second before someone was just physically yanking me off of. Like, you know, I've flown into the air a few times, you know, because I was just yanked up by some huge dude that's just like all muscles, like, you know.
Like, oh, you felt not anymore. Oh!
Yeah. But now, I mean, now not so much. I don't really go in the pit as much. I mean, it depends. I mean, COVID has sort of ruined a lot of that. It's like, you know, it's like the blowing the candles out at the birthday party for kids. It's like, maybe just, you know, or maybe like they have a cake, they blow it out. The whole blowing on things is, you know, not to say we're done with it. I think it's going to get easier, you know. Yeah. But something, and I just think about, like, you know, what am I going to do for work? You know, if I get sick because I was in with a bunch of sweaty people breathing all the same air, you know, there's just something innately gross about that now. But my dad still mixes it up in there. He can't stay out.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Almost 60 years old and needs a shoulder replaced. He's still in there.
Oh no.
All right. So
and knee surgery. He's still in there.
Oh my gosh.
He can't stay out.
Yeah, I only bring that up because typically I'm a beer drinker, but when I go to shows, I prefer I like a vodka Red Bull, because I found that it gets me to just the perfect amount of. Because I'm not a huge fan of crowds, so it gets me just over where I can deal with the crowds, and then we're good to go. So That's why I bring that up.
That's extremely relatable. If I were still drinking energy drinks, I would probably do that because those are like a Jaeger bomb. Those are so delicious. Are you kidding? Like, but I swore off. Actually, in Pittsburgh, I swore off energy drinks, and I just kind of have not looked back. You know, so
I never drank one until coming back from Pittsburgh.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, that's a story we don't need to go to.
Yeah. All right, we're coming up on time for this first, so we'll go ahead and listen to our song. So we're going to take a quick break and listen to that, and we'll be right back. The homework for you listeners at home, we are going to listen to The Leaving Song by Chris Garneau.
Question.
Yes.
Or statement. I was raising my hand, so I was like, question. That's not what I meant. So this one, I focused on, would you only play / drink in front of your close friends or just by yourself? To preface this before we listen to it, I only listen to this artist and this song by myself. It's very raw. It's he has a particular way of singing, not in this song. This song he goes a little bit heavier in his voice. He has a particular way of singing that's almost like ASMR that I've played for people. I feel so completely uncomfortable playing it for somebody else. It's just because it's very emotional, exposed, light, heavy music. So I just wanted to preface that going into it.
Perfect.
Well, thank you for sharing that with us.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a big thing. So
Yeah. So The Leaving Song by Chris Garneau. So, The Leaving Song, Chris Garneau. Yes, this is the Guilty Pleasure segment, not the In Your Feels. You are not in the wrong spot. So, Dallas, I know you had already prefaced it with you don't really share this artist with others, and that tends to be why it's a guilty pleasure. So, can you kind of elaborate on this song in particular?
It's very passionate. This is the kind of song that I don't think is for everybody, you know. It's raw. I mean, even like there's strings. It's not an accordion. I think it's harmonium. It's the one where it like sits on a desk and you have to pump it from the back, and you play it on the front. It's a keyboard instrument. I think it's a harmonium. It's that cello. It's all kind of out of sync with itself. They all kind of change notes at different times. I don't know. It's just very raw, and the music that I listen to, whether it's punk, whether it's what we just heard, I don't know what you'd categorize that as, indie sad.
like that. Yeah.
It's classical music. If it's choir music, piano, whatever it is, the music that I listen to, it just has to be dripping wet in something. Has to be soaked, and that song is soaked.
Yeah.
Soaked in something, you know. Yeah, it's just it's drenched.
Yeah, this reminds me a lot of Tom Waits.
In terms of
the emotion.
Yes, the emotion, yes. Not really the sound.
Not the sound. No, definitely the emotion. And the kind of delivery where it's just very... raw is the perfect word for it.
It's important that to note that he's kind of... I mean, I guess I don't know his vocal range because I don't know his singing style very well. It sounds like he's on the edge of his head voice. Meaning, so before you get to falsetto, if you're not a singer, your falsetto sounds like this, and your head voice sounds like this. He's singing as high as you can get without slipping into that falsetto. I guess there is one vocal range that's between those, but those are the two that most people can readily access.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd say that's true.
Yeah, and that's always a very emotional place to be as a singer. Whether you're a car radio singer or a shower singer, it doesn't matter. If you are really feeling a song and you're at the top of your range and you feel yourself about to cry, you will not be able to hit those notes anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And he's kind of hitting those notes anyway because he still sounds like he might burst into tears.
Yeah.
That's so awesome that you can hear that in someone's voice and they recorded it too. That's
Yeah.
I think
Definitely
with that-
inspiring.
I think there's a video of him. I don't know if it's been a long time since I've watched it, but of him performing it with a cello player on YouTube. I think on his YouTube. If you're feel inclined to look that up at some point in your life. I got turned on to Chris Garneau. I grew up. I took dance lessons throughout early elementary school, all the way up until I want to say I think I danced through my freshman year of high school, and then I just it's a real kind of awkward time for for guys. It's like pre or post growth spurt. You're really kind of just awkward, So I stopped dancing because I just felt too self-conscious to do that anymore. But I'll just to say the dance studio that I grew up dancing at needed somebody to run spotlights for their recital. It was when I was in college, so anywhere between 2012 and 2016 probably, and undergrad when I was still local. I ran spotlights. There was a girl who was doing her like senior dance. She didn't dance to that song. It'd be really difficult to choreograph a dance to that song. There's not a real beat to it. But she did a lyrical style dance to Chris Garneau's cover of a song called "Between the Bars," which is an Elliott Smith song. But it's very much in that same dripping wet, sad, dark kind of vibe. And I just went on a Chris Garneau trip, and then I listened to a bunch of his songs, and that one has really stood out to me, the one we just listened to over the years.
Cool. Yeah,
Johnny as a punk rock kind of guy.
Yeah.
I'm curious to know what you think about this.
I mean, there's a surprising amount of overlap between songs like this and the punk sphere. I say this because, well, and maybe it's just because my bias is more towards the emotional side, the emo side of punk. And a lot of what I listen to, especially if you start getting into like Midwest emo, where everything is just more on that pure, raw emotion. We're just taking away the power chords and twinkly guitar and drums, and you replace that with some more classical or maybe historical, we'll say, backing, and this is what you're left with. So I definitely see myself listening to this kind of thing if it's if the mood is right. Yeah, I'll definitely be checking out some more of his songs.
Yeah. Powerful to say the least.
I think that was spot on. Speaking of Midwest emo, I kind of skipped the emo days because I was focused on kind of being a punk rock elitist in like middle school. I'm like,
Who's got the power? I don't know, but fight it.
I'm like, I'm only listening to the Sex Pistols and the Clash and the Ramones. There's one band I'm curious just if you know, because you mentioned Midwest emo, is what's the name of their band? The Swellers.
I am familiar with the name, but not with the music. Like, I've heard the name being thrown around before.
Yeah, they were an opening band for some band at a concert 10, 15 years ago, and I just curious. Since you had mentioned Midwest emo.
I'm very surface level in terms of Midwest emo. I know American football and modern baseball. That's
Yep,
about
there
it.
you go. There you go. I mean, those are two of your heaviest hitters right there.
See, that went over my head. I don't even know.
Oh, those are the band names. American
really?
Football is the name of their band, and then another
Oh,
one
wow.
is Modern Baseball. I just want to know which one came first, but I would think American Football.
I think
don't know.
American football came first.
They just have more music out, as far as I know. Anyway, this is not the topic at hand. Unfortunately, I don't know if there's more to say about this very cool and very awe-striking song.
Awe-striking, I like, yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess I have something. So when it comes to, like, we struggle to put a genre to this. Do you find yourself listening to this type of kind of, I'll just say, art? Do you find yourself listening to this type of art frequently?
I would probably struggle to come up with another artist that is like that.
That's what I was going to ask. Is there another one to compare to? I can't think of one, really. There's some people that I think that really strive for that kind of thing. And some people that... This is an interesting thought. We can cut it if we want. There's a ton of, like, newer pop artists right now that are really being latched onto because they're so new. That my mind is going to, like, Sabrina Carpenter and Chappell Roan, and there's others out there, but those are the first two that come to mind. I could see them trying to reach for this type of thing. Even Taylor Swift, really. She's in this pop box that I'm talking about. I know that they wouldn't go for this sound that he has, but they would probably strive to reach that emotion that he is accessing. And I wonder if they'll ever get there. I wonder if anyone really could match what this is.
I think it would be tough to do in the pop space. Because I think the pop space is so much dictated on appealing to the many at all times. Right? I mean, because we've talked before about this on this show, and I'm sure we'll get to it next segment as well, about how pop is meant to be accessible to everyone. And it's supposed to appeal to everyone. That's the point of it. And I think there's something about the emotion that is so heavy in this song, and I'm assuming with this artist in general, that if you want to stay in that pop space, I don't think there's any way to access this type of emotion. At least on a grand scale. Maybe like one song, one ballad maybe. But I think this level of kind of unfiltered pure emotion, I think just doesn't fit in today's 2024 current pop sphere, which is very, very much about, you know, hooks that stick with you and things that are very instant gratification, if that makes sense.
Sure.
And I'm not trying to say it's a bad thing. I'm just saying that's just what it is right now.
Yeah. I think that that's true. I also think that in the case of Chappell Roan, if you've ever seen her perform, like a video of her concerts, she wears the most crazy costumes, like a Halloween costume with like makeup and everything. I think she was like a zombie nun at one of her things. Just wild. Doesn't match the music at all. But she's just, I think to go along with what Nathan was saying is I think that the authenticity of the song that we just listened to, I think that is what matches current pop music. And that's why, and we get into this in the next segment, is that I think pop music is becoming more and more authentic as time goes on, and people are searching for authenticity. So someone who is as weird as Chapel Roan has just a ginormous fan base because she is just out there doing her thing, being her most authentic self, and people love it.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah. I do want to add to my list now that I've had a moment to think. Like, one I think that could potentially reach this on purpose, Billie Eilish.
I think this is way more Billie Eilish territory.
Yeah.
She already kind of lives in that emotional sphere.
Yeah.
Definitely. And Lizzie McAlpine, to an extent. I know she was on your list that we were deciphering earlier. That's what's the graph where it never reaches zero?
Exponential decay.
Yeah.
Well, it'd be like a natural log graph.
Yeah. It's like, damn, I forgot his name. What's the singer of this song?
Chris Garneau.
Chris Garneau is at zero, comparatively. While these other people are
They're trying to get there, but never going to quite get there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got you. My math brain loved that. Thank you.
Nice.
All right. I think we'll have a lot more to say. I think that was a good conversation, but I think it'll be better served in our next segment. So let's get to our ratings of our cherry seltzers. So I had the Vizzy, which is black cherry lime. Not terrible, because I've had some terrible seltzers. I think I'm going to go with a solid 3 on this. I don't know if I would buy it again, but if I was at like a ball game or something, like a hot summer day, it probably tastes pretty good. But right now in a cold November evening, I would much have rather had a High Noon, to be honest.
Yeah.
So, yeah, 3 for me on the Vizzy.
I'm gonna go a little higher for this High Noon. I'm going 3.5. Excuse me. Of the High Noon flavors, it's not my favorite one. It's just a little bit Robitussin like for me. Like the flavor is not even close to as strong, which is why it's drinkable. But that's just what it reminds me of. So not my favorite thing. Yeah, 3.5.
Yeah, I think we learned last episode how much you have a problem with cherry flavored things.
That makes sense.
Dallas, go ahead.
You know what? It's my favorite flavor of High Noon. And if I'm gonna go for a drink that's not heavy, like the Sheboygan from our first segment, I mean, I'm probably gonna pick this over that if I don't want something heavy. And I put that at a 5 because it's my favorite beer.
Sure.
So I'm thinking this is around 4.5 for me, maybe a 4.75.
I'll definitely agree with you on the lightness. It's very light, and I could. That's just a seltzer thing to me in general. Like, if I liked the flavor of LaCroix, which I don't. But,
I do. I love LaCroix.
Do you? Okay, that
Yeah,
makes
I do.
I'm a big
sense.
Spindrift guy.
You're very much happy with it. Yeah, I just need a little bit more flavor than LaCroix usually offers. But I mean,
if this were a White Claw, I'd give it a 3. If it were Truly, I'd give it a 2. I think there's something specific. It's a vodka seltzer, you know?
Yeah.
It really does make a difference. It really does.
Chef's kiss about that, yeah.
All right, and with that, we're going to rinse out our glasses, pour our next ones, and be back at you for segment number 4.
Welcome to segment 4 of BYO Beats. We are going back to an old favorite for our beer selections for this one. Two-Hearted Bells.
Two-Hearted.
IPA. From debatably Comstock or Kalamazoo, Michigan. Guarantee you that bottle says Comstock.
It does.
Yeah, I don't know why, because everyone in Michigan knows it to be Kalamazoo.
Well,
Huh.
I think it's probably the plant is in Comstock.
The plant? Oh, the literal hops.
No, like the bottling canning plant.
Oh,
The factory.
new literal. Either way, though.
Bell's
I'm
is good stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've ever had a Bell's that was bad.
Bad, no. There are lots of ones that are better than others, though.
Like, I would not reach for the cherry Oberon, but
Have you guys had? I think it's like a double cream stout from them. It's sort of like that motor oil one that you were talking about, Johnny. But no, it's not full on motor oil. I've had worse, definitely. To me, it was more porter like. But anyway, we're not talking about that. We're talking about Two Hearted and why it is an acquired taste. I've got a good feeling about why.
yeah.
But now let's go ahead. You tell your story, my guy.
I have always been a fan of lighter beers. You know, it's like everything that's been on these segments has been light stuff. I've really had to find the love for the heavier things, and of those things, if Halloween party, if there's a big thing happening and people are going to bring a bunch of beer, people usually will grab all the typical stuff, your Labatt's, your Miller Lights, your Bud Lights. They're going to bring those things, and then somebody's going to bring Two Hearted because it's just like it's you know, what is it, like the best beer in the whole country or something like that. It won like a ton of awards.
Yeah.
Definitely,
So,
yes. Yeah.
It feels especially ironic as a Michigan native to have it as my acquired taste when it has like this entire like amazing history of winning all these awards. But yeah, for me, the IPA is simply something that I've had to learn to like.
Yeah, I did too. That I'm sure we talked about it every other time we've had an IPA.
Oh, yeah.
Not an easy one. I don't think it was my first legal beer in the U.S.
Nice.
And I finished it. I knew that.
Kudos. I did not finish
right.
my first Two Hearted.
And it honestly looked kind of like this one. So like, I was not put off enough to stop. So I mean, plus I was very eager to learn what being drunk was, and I didn't find out that night anyway. So.
Can I just take a quick commercial break, and can we just discuss what our first legal drinks were?
Sure. Yeah.
Did you already? So that was that both of yours? Was Two Hearted?
I don't remember what mine was. Actually, I can. If you want to go first, I can look up on Untapped.
Sure.
I mean, yeah, this was my first legal drink in the U.S., I should say. I had legal drinks in Canada before that.
Oh,
I did have legal drinks in Germany as well. And that would have been... Oh boy, what would have that been? I drank a lot in Germany. I don't remember. I don't remember what was first.
Probably a half of Weizen or something.
Probably.
My first, technically legal drink was on a plane over international waters on my way to London on a school trip. I was 20 years old, and they served me a Sam Adams. That was my first legal beer.
Wow.
First legal drink. My first, and this is, I have no shame in telling you this, and this is not a lie. My first legal beverage in the United States when I was 21 years old was a mudslide from Applebee's.
That's awesome.
I tell you that with the highest amount of pride for that fact.
Wow, a
No
mudslide.
shit.
I think I've had one mudslide my whole life.
That's about as many as you need, really.
Yeah, well, because after that, I was just like, no, not this. Give me a milkshake. What are you talking about?
Like, I want some Ben and Jerry's.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. So on my 21st birthday, we went to Hopcat after I had an IM basketball game at IM East. So I got home from that, took a shower, and then we quickly went to Hopcat. And I had a 6-beer flight. I had Full Circle from New Holland. It's a Kolsch. I had Strawberry Blonde from Arbor Brewing Company. I had Boom Sauce from Lord Hobo Brewing Company. Black Madonna from St. Ambrose Cellars. That's actually a mead. Deflowered, hazy IPA from Witch's Hat. And Witty Yank from Drafting Table Brewing Company.
Wow.
That's a solid list.
For those who don't know what Hopcat is probably your best case scenario bar if you want to try out a ton of Michigan beers.
Oh,
I
yeah.
think all of them have around 100 taps.
Sometimes more.
Yeah.
They're all around Michigan, too. Lansing,
Yeah.
Kalamazoo, Grand Rapids.
There's one 10 minutes down the road from me. I didn't even know.
Detroit, look at that.
Yep.
Yeah,
Oh, no,
there's
there's
one
one.
Or
in
Detroit Metro, I should say. Yeah.
Well, no, there's both. There's one in Detroit, and there's also one that's like 10 minutes from me.
I think there's one in Madison, Wisconsin as well. So they're all over the Midwest, to be honest.
Oh, is it? Oh, okay. I thought it was only. Yeah, my bad. I thought it was the Michigan thing.
Well, I don't know. There was one in Madison at some point. I don't know if that's changed. Because there also used to be one in Chicago, but I know that it is no longer.
Oh.
Yeah. I think COVID something. Well, I mean, also, Chicago's such a huge... I mean, talk about competition.
Exactly.
Saturated market. But anyways, we're not here to talk about Hopcat. We're here to talk about Hearted IPA. Called Two Hearted because there's two hearts in a trout. Crazy.
Yes, I didn't know that until
I didn't know that.
the last time. The last time when I think I did like a quarter of a research paper on it or something. There's like a river called Two-Hearted River somewhere in Michigan. Anyway, good.
Let's do the song.
Yeah.
So, like we alluded to in the past segment, we're going to be talking about some pop music. So we have a selection from Ariana Grande, the song Ghostin'. So we're going to listen to that and be right back. Okay, we just listened to Ghostin' by Ariana Grande. Another super emotional song. So I'm sure you're all detecting a trend here with Dallas. So Dallas, what makes this your acquired taste?
This is my favorite song by Ariana Grande, so that's why this song.
Mm-hmm.
Pop music in general is something that I've been dating. I've been married for over 2 years now. I've been with my wife for, is this 10 years? No, 2015, so almost 10 years. She's somebody who's always been more into, thank you, into pop music than classical, and I've been more of the classical guy. You know, we both went to school for music. She's a tuba player, so she definitely has that appreciation for classical music as well. But she has brought me, closer to pop music and appreciating it. And artists like Ariana Grande has made me. Ariana Grande was the first pop artist that I was like, hell yeah, that's awesome. Specifically this song, I've just been noticing it more. I said specifically, but now we're going to talk generally about the pop music of today. There's some Taylor Swift songs. That's a huge acquired taste for me, but I'm acquiring it, especially with her Taylor's versions. I don't know if you've listened to the original music she wrote, and then there's the Taylor's versions. The Taylor's versions knocks them out of the park. Just something about her doing it on her own, not with a corporate label. It's just like clicks. I'm just noticing, and I don't know that Ariana Grande, obviously she uses a producer. I don't know that she's necessarily sitting in front of a piano planning on all these harmonies, but this song specifically is all about layering. It's the same chord progression throughout the entire thing, and we get just these decisions that were made and on the producing side, where in the synth pads, there's a little bit of a pitch bend that occurs in the sustained synth that is just really cool. You didn't have to do that. Someone had to physically drag the pitch down for that half a second and then bring it back up. It's just layering. It's what made Michael Jackson's music so good. People called him the king of pop for a reason. A lot of his music was the same thing over and over and over again. But it's just mastering the layering of it. And when she starts to talk more specifically about I forget who it's about, but the song is about a actual guy that died. I don't know if it was it
Mac Miller.
Mac Miller. I almost said Macklemore. Yeah, Mac Miller.
Different white rapper.
You're right.
Very
right?
different. We're
Well, they
big
both
fans
start
of
with
Mac
Mac.
Miller on this show.
Are you?
Macklemore too. You know, like,
I
not
think-
like Mac though.
I knew that it was a Mac, but I'm not a. I don't think I've ever listened to a song by Mac Miller, so I was drawing a blank.
Oh, you should. It's really good.
Yeah, and I like Macklemore too. I think Macklemore is cool. I'm really into R&B and rap. That's why specifically Ariana Grande, her music is more it's R&B pop, and that's why I think it's good. It's got its own version of like a drippy, wet experience.
I have a question for both of you, I guess, about just Ariana Grande's. So not her voice. So this is the dilemma I'm having. I grew up watching her on Nickelodeon, and she sang in the shows that she was on also, or at least she sang in Victorious, not so much in Sam and Cat, but I was always amazed about what she could do just in that show.
Oh, yeah.
The music she puts out, especially in the last few years, to me sounds overproduced. In that, like, it's obvious that she's still hitting the notes. She still has the same abilities that she had before. It sounds like there's a few too many filters over it, that it doesn't sound as human as it could.
I see what you mean.
I get where I know I'm asking about personal preferences at this point.
Yeah.
That's just my preference. Is that I thought she sounded better when there was less effect.
Well, I think it also depends on the message and the art she's trying to convey, right? I mean,
Yeah.
I feel like if you're going for... Oh, what's that song? It's a pop song. It's got her and, like, Nicki Minaj and, like, another prominent female...
Oh, are
pop.
you thinking of Bang Bang?
Bang Bang.
Yeah.
Yes.
Jessie
Jessie J, yes. So with that song, right, I feel like Ariana Grande has found herself in two different spheres, right? She's got the R&B pop, which is like this, which I think is going to be more produced and more of that emotion and things that are akin to R&B music. And then there's stuff like Bang Bang, where she's just going to belt, and it's a pop song, it's upbeat, it's up-tempo, and there's not going to be as much filtering on it. I'm not super well versed in the pop sphere, and actually this is the first time I've actually heard this song by her. I don't think I ever actually listened to that whole album when it came out. Thank You Next. I probably should have, because, well, I probably have a better understanding and appreciation for it now than when I did when it came out a few years ago, but that's a different podcast.
The growth of Johnny.
Yes, especially in the pop music sphere, right? I mean, because
Sure.
if I'm not going to talk about it here, I've talked about it before. Listen to my episode if you want to hear me talk about it. But yeah, I do think that she's catering to one genre or the other, I think. Well, and I think with this song too, as emotional as it is, I mean, she's talking about feeling guilty about emotionally cheating on her current boyfriend with a boyfriend who has passed away. And I feel like that's just that in and of itself is a tough concept. And then you put that into a song, and the emotion that she's able to put into the music, I think just adds a whole nother layer to it.
Yeah.
By the way, I don't ask this question to bash the song. I do enjoy the song at the same time. It's just like, I actually caught this a few days ago. I was trying to get into John Legend a little bit more, because I really enjoy his voice, and because it's a really unique sound. I know there's lots of people out there that don't enjoy that sound. He did a duet with Ariana Grande on the song Beauty and the Beast. They have the credits, the credit song for the live action Beauty and the Beast. And I was listening to her sing it, and I was just like, it's so note perfect. She's singing, she's connecting with John Legend just as well as I would want her to. But for some reason, this sounds different than when I think of her specific voice. So I don't know. Maybe it's just my ear has changed.
You might still be longing, like when you hear her sing, you might still want to hear her from Disney Channel, you know?
I
Or
guess.
is it
Yeah.
Nickelodeon?
Yeah, it was Nickelodeon. But, I mean, I know what
same
you meant,
difference.
Yeah,
There's that nostalgia, right?
yeah.
It's like
That
you
could
want
be.
it to be the same.
Voices change too. Like, yeah, and that's another difficult thing. Maybe that's just a man thing. Is that hearing a woman's voice change is less identifiable as the very pronounced several octaves that some men get. I don't know. Like,
Yeah. Well, and I think that it's too, like, Ariana Grande has a huge vocal range.
oh yeah, of course. Well, and I love hearing her do like the impressions of people. Like she was on SNL not too long ago, and she did her Celine Dion impression, which is always just like, can you just not be so freaking good? Sometimes it's like, anyway.
I probably picked this song specifically because we are seeing a theme here where I just like emotional, sad music. I could have picked, that was just the first one that came to my mind. I could have picked a lot of her other songs too. I think Nathan, you said something about just like only listening to it like once or something. The Thank You Next album was on repeat in my house. We were listening to the entire album all the way through.
Wow.
And
okay.
so like to the point there was one year it made my Spotify Wrapped. Like Ariana Grande was like my second played artist. I'm like, you are messing with my algorithm here on Spotify. So now my wife uses Apple Music and I use Spotify now. So we have
okay.
different Wraps, but
Yeah.
one of her more recent songs, and I was trying to pull it up on Spotify before I said this, but it's completely different. Very like 90s Madonna pop glam era. And I can't remember the name of the song, but completely different. But I like it as an acquired taste just as much as that song that we just listened to.
Very cool. Should we do ratings for Two Hearted?
Yeah, we can. It'll be a shorter segment, but I think that's okay. I mean, I know we had some stuff we were talking about before with like our thoughts on emotional music in the pop sphere, but I mean, I think we kind of covered that. I think it tends to fall more into the R&B space nowadays in the current, like, when it comes to popular music. That's where that music tends to fall.
That's true. Then you get into differences between a singer-songwriter and a pop artist.
True.
Sometimes they very much will overlap. Like Taylor Swift is obviously both. Ariana Grande would probably be considered both also.
Yeah, well, I mean, you can very obviously tell that at least the lyrics were written by her.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
Someone like Billie Eilish, I think her music it's evident that she just writes it in her bedroom with her brother, you know?
Yeah.
And like all of it is like they write all of that from start to finish, as opposed to using a producer like what Taylor Swift and Ariana Grande do. And the song is called Yes And, if you wanted to know. One by Ariana Grande. It's a cool song.
Yes, and that's an improv thing, isn't it?
It's the first rule of improv.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's intentional or if that's just.
It's more because she was like, I think she was dating the guy from SpongeBob or something, and he was married with kids, and I think that song is in response to that.
Whoa, wait,
Yeah,
whoa.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I think it's literally like, oh my god, I think it's like SpongeBob on ice or something, some shit like that. I'm not even kidding.
Okay.
Hold on a second. Okay, I need to Google this because I don't want to be wrong. And SpongeBob.
I was like, the voice of SpongeBob did Ariana Grande? What?
Let's see. Everything to know about Ariana Grande and her new boyfriend, SpongeBob. Ethan Slater.
What else is he in? I'm looking up his IMDb right now. I promise I'll be brief. I have such a problem with IMDb.
What do you mean a problem? Like you use it frequently?
Yeah, my wife gets mad at me because like I'll see an actor on a show and I'll be like, "Oh, where do I know you from?" And then I'll have to stop everything I'm doing and look it up.
I feel that a lot.
It's
though.
the SpongeBob musical. I'm sorry for interrupting.
No, you're
Oh, no,
good.
you-
Yes,
oh,
he's
that
also
would be
coming. He's
so-
in Wicked, the movie.
That would be so crazy if Ariana Grande backslid on the guy from SpongeBob on Ice. For one, I don't even think that's a thing. But oh my god, that'd be
I
so
hope
funny.
not.
So
Nothing should be on ice. Oh my god.
Except for hockey.
you know what? The kids love it. The kids love it.
Anyways,
But yes,
we're way off topic. We should
I'm
reel
sorry.
it in at least. Do we
Reel
have
it in.
anything more to say on pop music? Fish?
Reel it in. Reel in that from that two-hearted river. Reel in the two-hearted trout.
We doing ratings?
Yeah. Let's do them quick.
I got a 4.0.
I got a 4.25.
I guess it's not my jam.
Go
You know what
low
I
if
mean?
you want. Go low if you
No,
want.
I can't do it. I can't. I'm gonna say, I'll say 4.25. I'm gonna say 4.25.
Oh,
I'm
wow,
locking
okay.
that in.
All right, and with that, we're going to rinse out our glasses, pour our next ones, be back at you for segment number 5.
Next week.
Stay tuned.